this another couple seconds or so here, just to make sure we give everybody enough time to get in here. Um, I will talk a little bit about myself here before I get started here. Um, for those of you who have ever seen one of my webinars, I'm sorry. For those who are new here, I'm also sorry. There will be some times where my brain reads faster than my mouth can speak. So there will be some times where I jumble words up and things come out wonky, but stick with me. It's all about the content, not what I'm saying. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and get started here. Um, Good afternoon, those of you on the Eastern Coast. Good morning to those on the Western Coast. Um, Welcome to our webinar on navigating the opportunity of multi-state compliance. My name is Jordan Sonopoli, and I'll be guiding you through today's session. Before we dive in, a few quick housekeeping items. The webinar is being recorded, and you'll receive a copy afterward. Today's presentation is eligible for continuing education credit through Earmark. I'll go over how to get your CE credit at the end of the presentation. We'll be together for around 45 minutes today, and we'll have time for question and answers at the end. So let's get started. Introduction to Harbor Compliance. Harbor Compliance is a nationwide provider of registered agent, business registration, licensing services, and software. We also provide extensive nonprofit formation and fundraising compliance solutions to nonprofit organizations through our partner or our other brand, Labyrinth, our nonprofit brand. Why compliance matters. Compliance isn't just a box to check, it's a fundamental requirement. Organizations must follow state and federal regulations to operate. The real challenge is deciding how to meet those requirements in the most effective ways. Here's what we'll be covering today. First, we'll discuss what it takes to form a business and the necessary steps to take as your business grows. Next, we'll discuss the ongoing requirements to keep your business in good standing. Finally, we'll share why outsourcing compliance can free up resources and support growth. So let's dig into the required steps when forming a new entity. When forming a new business, one of the first steps in choosing the right entity type. One of the first steps is choosing one of the right entity types. An LLC or limited liability company is very popular with small businesses because it offers liability protection with a simple structure passed through taxation. A C corporation is the classic choice for companies planning to raise significant outside investment or even go public, though it does involve corporate taxation. An S corporation provides pass-through taxation and avoids double taxation, but it comes with restrictions, such as a cap on the number of shareholders and ownership limited to U.S. individuals. For organizations serving the public good, a nonprofit corporation is often the right fit. These entities can apply for tax-exempt status with the IRS. Finally, professional entities like professional corporations or PLLCs are reserved for licensed professionals such as attorneys, doctors, and architects, offering liability protection while meeting state licensing requirements. Keep in mind, this is a general information only. Each type of entity comes with unique legal and tax considerations, so it's important to consult with qualified advisors before making a decision. Well, we're only on slide 6, and I've already had some hiccups here. Let's see if we can clean this up. Choosing where to form a business. Choosing where to form a new entity, there are several options to consider. For example, Delaware is popular with startups because of its investor-friendly corporate law and specialized court of chancery. Please be right. Nevada stands out as its lack of state corporate income tax and strong privacy protections. Texas offers a large and growing economy with a strong workforce, making it attractive for companies planning to hire locally. Finally, for many business owners, forming in their home state is often the most practical choice since it avoids additional costs of foreign qualification and directly matches where the business is already operating. These examples are for general education purposes only. We said before. Each business has unique needs, so it's important to consult with a qualified legal or tax professional before making a decision. Every business entity is required to maintain a registered agent in the state where it is formed and in any state where it's qualified to do business. The registered agent's job is to receive official documents like lawsuits and state notices. You can technically appoint yourself or an employee, but that comes with risks. The agent must be available at the listed address during all business hours. Missing delivery could result in penalties or even default judgments. There are also privacy considerations. The registered agent's address is public record, so many owners prefer to use a service provider rather than their home or office addresses. Using a commercial registered agent service ensures reliability and continuity. Finally, if you're planning to operate in multiple states, a commercialized registered agent service like Harbor Compliance can simplify operations by providing consistent coverage across all 50 states. This saves time, reduces complexity, and ensures you never miss a critical document. Growth and expansion. As your business grows, you may need to operate in multiple states. Foreign qualification is required when you're considering to do business in another state. This often includes having an office, employees, or entering into contracts in that jurisdiction. Oop, oop. One of the biggest surprises for new business owners is how much complexity varies from state to state. Filing timelines, for example, can range from just a few days in Delaware to several weeks in states like California or New York. This affects how soon your company can officially operate. Filing fees also differ widely. Some states charge less than $100, while others charge several hundred, which adds up quickly if you're forming in multiple states. Beyond the basics, some states have additional requirements. For instance, a few require general business licenses, initial reports, or even the publication of formation notices in the local newspaper. Tax requirements also vary. Texas has a franchise tax, while Nevada doesn't levy a corporate income tax at all. Finally, don't forget that simply having employees in another state can trigger additional filings, such as registering with the Secretary of State and setting up payroll tax accounts. Doing business across state lines can also trigger not only foreign qualification, but also sales tax registration. This is why businesses expanding across state lines need to plan ahead and anticipate these differences. The South Dakota versus Wayfair Inc. decision was a game changer for the sales tax obligations. While it may not have received as much attention as it might have under normal circumstances, given its timing shortly before the COVID-19 pandemic, its impact has been profound. That said, ignorance of the decision isn't a defense, and enforcement is real. Businesses now face obligations in states where they may have no physical presence, requiring proactive attention to avoid penalties. I'm going to take a quick commercial break here. Let's do a quick check. Actually, let me, before we do this, because this always happens, I want to make sure you all are able to actually submit a chat. I think we should be good. Okay. So I want you to, if you can, if you want to, if you don't want to, it's cool as well. I want to do a quick check. How would you describe your sales tax registration status? Are you fully registered everywhere you need to be, still figuring things out, or not sure where to start? Drop your answer in the chat. We'd love to hear where you're at. You'll be able to compare yourselves to those of you who are in similar shoes. Like I said, if you don't want to, if the chat does not work, I apologize. But I think I set it up correctly. Again, not 100% sure. So we'll give that just a minute or two. Don't be shy if you can or want to submit something in there. Anything you want to ask how everybody's days are going, chat amongst yourselves in that webinar chat, or if I set it up completely wrong. All right. Well, I hope I set it up wrong and nobody can chat because we got no volunteers. It's completely fine. If you wanted to kind of keep that to yourselves. All right, we'll move on. All right, remote work and multi-state compliance. Now let's talk about the impact of remote work and on regulatory requirements. As many organizations shift to long-term or permanent remote work arrangements, the regulatory footprint is expanding. While some companies are returning to in-person operations, remote work is here to stay for many. This means businesses must now register to operate in additional states where their employees are located, manage tax obligations, and ensure they have the right licenses in place. Just like in your home state, your business now has ongoing obligations in every additional state where it's operating. These include maintaining a registered agent, filing annual reports, paying franchise taxes, and renewing business licenses. For registered agent requirements, every state where you do business requires that you designate a current registered agent to receive legal notices and to service a process. If the agent's information changes, that must be updated with the state. Using a single service provider, like Harbor Compliance, can greatly simplify this process by consolidating all your registered agent needs into one annual invoice. Then there's the annual report. Nearly every state requires entities to file some form of annual or periodic report. Because deadlines and filing schedules vary by state, multi-state businesses must stay on top of filing throughout the year. Many states also impose a franchise tax to maintain corporate good standing. States like California, New York, and Texas are well known for these requirements. These filings are separate from the income tax and must be tracked and paid on time. On top of all that, most business licenses must be renewed to remain valid. These renewals can be annual, biannual, or follow another timeline altogether. Regardless of the schedule, organizations need a reliable system to track deadlines and ensure updates are filed on time. Managing all of this across multiple states isn't a one-time task. Requirements change often, statutes, forms, agency websites, and even which agencies handle which tasks. If your organization handles its own state registrations, chances are you'll eventually run into one of these changes, resulting in rejected filings, lost time, and more added administrative work. That's why outsourcing these tasks to a trusted provider that stays on top of regulatory changes can be a smart and efficient solution. And finally, don't forget the organization is evolving too. Internal changes often trigger registration updates. Whether you're creating a new entity, undergoing a merger, rebranding, appointing new leadership, or expanding into a new state. Each change requires updates across Secretary of State records, tax departments, and licensing agencies. That's why it's important to have a process or partner in place to handle multi-state regulatory requirements as your organization grows and changes. All right, since nobody wanted to actively participate in my chat here, or I just it's not working, which is totally fine as well. I am going to have a poll question. This poll question will be: how many of you have direct experience with out-of-state registrations? I am going to come in here and launch that. And I want to, if you can, be honest with your answers. I will share the answers, not your own personal answers, but it'll just be like a percentage of how many of those in attendance, um, are like yourself. There's some that, will likely need to register in the next 6 months, 2 months, 1 month, 3 months. There's some that will, you know, they are where they are. It's not changing, and there's some that are, considering, is it something that we want to take on? So give us another minute or two, see if we can get some more participation from our audience here. And then, like I said, I will share the results just to kind of see, um, where everyone's at compared to each other. Give it another couple seconds here. Okay, so we'll end the poll. We'll share the results. It looks like, for the most part, most of you within this webinar audience is likely going to need to register in a new state within the next 6 months. Like I said, could be the next month, could be the next 15 days, could be 6 months. So you all are more alike than you all might have thought. All right, let's continue on here. So let's take a look at a routine process for a multi-state business hiring an employee in a new jurisdiction for the first time. Hiring an employee might sound straightforward, but ensuring they can get paid requires opening payroll tax accounts in their jurisdiction. This process often lands on HR, but it's really a tax compliance task. HR teams find themselves in the middle, coordinating with payroll providers, accounting and finance, and sometimes external accounting firms. Relying on a compliance partner like Harbor Compliance, with expertise opening payroll tax accounts in every state, can make this process far smoother. First-hand knowledge of this process allows them to navigate jurisdictional specific requirements, minimize delays, and significantly reduce the risk of mistakes. The right partner will handle the heavy lifting. So all your team needs to do is provide the new account numbers to your payroll provider. With the proactive compliance management approach, can eliminate confusion, streamline this process, and reduce friction, keeping the hiring process moving smoothly. So I have another quick question. I know that nobody volunteered for the first one. Again, nobody has to volunteer for this one either. A lot of this is, kind of your own businesses, but just seeing if anybody wants to step forward. Have you set up a payroll in a new jurisdiction for the first time in the last 12 months? Drop a quick yes or no chat. We'd like to see where everyone's at. You can compare each other if you don't want to. Again, totally cool. We'll give this another minute as well. I don't know. It is working. Cool. Nice. Look at that in a little bit, just in case anybody else wants to get brave and say yes or no. Good bit of yeses so far. Give this another couple seconds here, and then we'll move on. Poll questions are a little bit easier to do just because everybody has an option there for the 3 or 4 answers to it, and then you can kind of see, you can compare amongst yourselves. So, all right, let's move on. Move on here. Payroll tax registrations doesn't exist in isolation. It often requires foreign qualification, which means registering your business with the new state's Secretary of State. This process allows your business to legally operate in another state. It also involves appointing a registered agent to handle official communications and compliance documentation in that state. Using a nationwide registered agent provider like Harbor Compliance simplifies this process significantly. We can serve as your registered agent across all states and handle entity formations, entity filings seamlessly, while routine foreign qualification can still add complexity and ongoing obligations like annual report filings, which we can also offload for you. And since we have experience with these processes in every state, it allows you to take a proactive approach and anticipate these needs up front. This helps you avoid scrambling between HR, accounting, and legal teams and ensures requirements are met without disrupting business. When foreign qualification is complete, businesses often discover that obtaining licenses is the next hurdle. Whether you're in a regulated industry or not, many states require general business licenses for all entities. Legal teams, sometimes with the help of from outside counsel, are typically involved with this process. But it's another layer of complexity. With a proactive compliance partner like Harbor Compliance that can help you see these challenges coming, you can integrate licensing into your workflow, saving time and reducing stress. Finally, once tax accounts, entity registration, and licenses are sorted, corporate records must be updated. This step often requires legal and executive involvement, as they are the teams typically responsible for managing organizational records. You might be wondering how hiring an employee could trigger updates to your corporate records. If a business foreign qualifies in a new state and their name is unavailable, they will need to use a forced assumed name. While this doesn't happen every time, such naming changes can require updating reports. It says BOI reports, but we're really not doing the whole BOI thing anymore, obviously. So just updating, the Secretary of State with those changes. Failing to report these changes promptly can result in costly penalties. In summary, even basic operations like hiring an employee in a new jurisdiction can quickly snowball and require inputs from across the business. By partnering with the right compliance vendor that can assist you across entity, records, licensing, and tax, you stay ahead of these requirements, reduce stress, and avoid last-minute surprises. With the rise of remote work, expanding sales tax obligations, and consolidation activity, it's clear that nearly every organization operates across state lines today. Managing regulatory complexity has become a universal challenge that requires a strategic approach. It also means fewer and fewer businesses are able to achieve and maintain comprehensive compliance, meaning those that do are truly differentiated versus the competition. Now, I have another poll question here that I'm asking again for your participation. Here is a little more options here, a little more wide net question here. And it's how are you managing this? How are you managing your out of state registrations? Again, just a good litmus test to compare and contrast from the other attendees that are in here that are probably in similar shoes as yours. So we'll give this a minute or two here, see if we can get some more participation here. See how your business is looking compared to your peers. We got less than 50% right now. Looking for a little bit more participation. There you go. Give it another 30-ish seconds just in case there's anybody that's thinking a little bit. All right, I think we're okay. Now I'm going to share the results. You can see that um, there's it's pretty kind of spread out. Um, there's not a one size fits all. There's manage these requirements in house, having an employer team help, spreadsheets are really kind of the top picks here. Really, there's no like I said, one size fits all. Everybody has their own methods. Everybody, whatever works for them might not work for you, and whatever works for you might not work for others. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing that now as well, and we'll get back to the presentation. What is wrong with my camera? Okay. That was awkward. Renewals and ongoing requirements. Along with annual reports, many states require renewals of licenses, permits, and registered agent services. Staying on top of these requirements ensure your entity remains in good standing and avoids penalties. Next, we'll discuss the renewal processes and ongoing requirements for your business to remain in good standing. Annual reports are one of the most consistent ongoing obligations for business entities. Depending on the state, they're due every year or every other year. These filings update basic business information like addresses, registered agent, and officer ownership details. They also require filing fees, which vary widely, and deadlines that differ by state. Some are tied to your anniversary date, others use a set calendar date. Staying on top of annual reports is crucial because missing one can mean late fees, loss of good standing, or even administrative dissolution. Give everybody a couple seconds just to, I'll read through this. File regularly, provide information, pay the fees, meet the deadlines, maintain good standing. That's all you got to do. Just follow those 5 steps there, and you'll be just fine for your Secretary of State registrations. Forming your entity is just the first step. In many cases, you'll also need business licenses and permits. General business licenses are common at both the state and local levels. Certain professions like engineers, contractors, and healthcare providers require specialized licensing. Don't overlook sales tax permits. Even if you don't have a physical presence, many states' economic nexus laws can still require registration. On top of that, cities and counties may require zoning permits or health inspection, depending on your operations. Most licenses renew annually, and missing a renewal can result in penalties or even prevent your business from operating until reinstated, which makes careful tracking essential. While higher interest rates have slowed borrowing for some, mergers and acquisitions remain a dominant growth strategy in many sectors, and compliance plays a crucial role in the process. Organizations in good standing have a significant advantage. They can acquire or be acquired without delays or complications. But compliance considerations don't stop there. Post-deal steps like deciding which entities will survive, winding down subsumed entities, and managing licenses and tax registrations are crucial for a smooth transition and long-term success. Amendments are the formal way to update your entity's information with the state. Common examples include changing your business name, which also requires updates with the IRS, your bank, and licensing agencies. Address changes, especially for your registered agent, are critical, not crucial, to ensure you receive state notices and legal documents. Changes in ownership or management often require prompt updates so the state records remain accurate. If your business purpose changes, for instance, expanding from consulting to also selling products, some states or industries may require new licenses or permits. Finally, larger changes like mergers or converting from an LLC to a corporation must be documented with amendment filings. These updates keep your business records aligned with reality, which protects your good standing and avoids conflicts with regulators or business partners. Next, let's discuss the macroeconomic trends driving regulatory complexity. I think this is a two-part. Nice. Okay. Compliance is non-negotiable. Organizations must follow laws and regulations or risk penalties, losing their right to operate and damaging their reputation. Effective compliance starts with understanding and managing four key areas. That's the ones that I clicked too soon. Entity registration, record keeping, licensing, and tax obligations. Let's begin with business registration. This is usually the first step when entering a new state, most commonly as a foreign qualification, but in some cases, it may involve forming a new legal entity depending on the organization structure and goals. Registration occurs with the Secretary of State's office and grants the business legal permission to operate in that jurisdiction. It typically also reserves the entity's name in the state and grants access to the court system to bring or defend lawsuits. As part of this process, the business must designate a registered agent. This individual or company is responsible for receiving service, a process, and other time-sensitive legal documents. While many organizations appoint registered agents on an as-needed basis, this can lead to a patchwork of providers, increasing administrative complexity, cost, and the risk of miscommunications. A better approach is to consolidate your registered agent representation with a single provider who meets all the requirements across all jurisdictions. Providers like the best in the game, Harbor Compliance, are happy to help streamline this for you. Next is tax registration. This involves ongoing and appropriate tax accounts needed to file returns and pay taxes. For employers, this often means withholding and unemployment tax accounts. While sellers may need sales tax permits, tax registration becomes necessary when a business establishes nexus, a significant physical or economic connection to the state. What's important to remember is that registering with the Departments of Revenue and Labor isn't automatic. It requires intentional action by the organization. And because tax forms are complex, it's best to be proactive. Register before conducting taxable activities like hiring employees or making sales. I told you I was going to struggle a little bit. I set the expectation early. But finally, there's business license. Obtaining the proper licenses allows an organization to operate legally in a specific location or industry. Licenses may be required at the state or local level and can apply to both the business and its individual employees. With over 150,000 licensing authorities across the US, there's no universal process for obtaining a license. That's why organizations must take a proactive approach, identify what's required, apply early, and work with legal advisors or service providers as needed. Together, these four areas, entity registration, registered agent appointment, tax registration, and licensing, form the foundation of good standing and ongoing regulatory success. That was a long one. Thanks for sticking with me on that one. Compliance requirements are rarely isolated, and addressing one often uncovers others. For instance, hiring an employee may require a state payroll tax ID, which in many states cannot be obtained without registering a legal entity with the Secretary of State. Similarly, applying for a license often demands proof of existing compliance, such as a Secretary of State registration, tax registration, and other filings, depending on factors like the entity's name, ownership structure, or industry. Many organizations initially focus on resolving the issue in front of them, unaware of the additional requirements that lie beneath the surface, much like the hidden mass of an iceberg. A disconnected approach can create inefficiencies and increase risk, highlighting the need for integrated compliance management. To stay in good standing, organizations must maintain all their Secretary of State tax and licensing obligations and be prepared to develop or adopt a solution that supports their interconnected regulatory requirements. Compliance. Dang, that's tough. Let's take a moment to review some recent Secretary of State level updates. Starting with New Mexico. As of December 9th, New Mexico launched a new unified online filing system. All business transactions must now go through the new portal. With this launch, the legacy corporations and business services systems have been fully disconnected and is no longer available. For those with prepaid balances in the old system, refunds were issued to the name and address on file. All of those funds did not carry over to the new platform. There are also a few changes to available services. Correspondent filings no longer are accepted, and currently expedited online options are unavailable in this new system. Moving on to Vermont, on December 16th, the Vermont Secretary of State also transitioned to a new filing system. To use this portal, users must create a new account if they haven't already done so, or on or after that date. These updates highlight the importance of staying on top of state system changes, especially as they impact how filings are submitted and processed. Okay. I have just a poll, not a submit your question here. So I have another poll. I'm going to launch that now. And this is just, where you get your updates on these kinds of things. Are you an active reader? Do you just read changes to the Secretary of State? Do you actively seek any changes before you do a filing? Is it something that's just prompted when you go ahead and you're ready to do a renewal? Is that when you do your research? And so see if we can get some more participation here. Again, appreciate as always everybody sticking with me. Do this as best you can, as best I can. Give this another minute or so. See if we can get everybody to kind of submit an answer here. And again, just like always, we'll share the results here. You can compare yourself to your peers here. So regulatory proactive research, that's just, researching as things come about, or as you're about to file, looking at things, seeing if anything changes. Your attorneys, accountants, talking with friends within your industry, Google alerts, industry publications. Like I said, if you enjoy reading, having those things come, read them, see what's going on, or you're just like, hey, whatever happens, happens. We're just gonna file this, and if something's updated, we'll know about it then. Give this another 20 or so seconds, see if we can get any more answers here. Again, like I said, we'll end this and share the results. I gotta speed this up a little bit. We're kind of already at close to that 45-minute mark, and I got a few more slides to go here. So let's see if we can kind of kick the afterburners in. Here's the results, pretty split between proactive approach or proactive research, industry publications, and then no proactive research at all, or just kind of submitting and seeing what happens. I love that. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing that, and then we're going to go ahead and press on here. Next up, the drawbacks of taking a do-it-yourself approach. Let's admit it, managing government paperwork isn't exactly a passion project for most people out here. But here's the thing, we actually do love it. Yes, we're those compliance nerds who get excited about filing deadlines and regulatory nuances, and we embrace it wholeheartedly. We know it's not for everyone, and that's cool. We're here to help everyone that can't stand through the thought of doing another filing. I am not one of them. I am not a compliance nerd. I am just a face of it that I can be able to talk about it, and we have a great team of the actual doers of this who are those compliance nerds. Too often, this stuff falls on the plates of an overworked admin or a team member who already has a full-time job. It can be thankless, a lot tedious, but here's the good news. We're on your side, ready to partner with you to lighten the load and make the process more manageable. Dare we say, even enjoyable. We handle the details so your team can get back to the work that actually matters, that you care about. The reason why you're with this company. Accountants and attorneys are rock stars in their fields, whether it's navigating complex tax strategies or providing invaluable legal counsel. Well, let's face it, multi-state compliance, it's not exactly their idea of a good time. They'll probably thank you for sparing them the headache of keeping up with regulatory technicalities and letting them focus on what they excel at. And for the accountants or attorneys joining us on today's webinar, first, thanks for being here. If you ever dreamed of offloading these regulatory tasks to someone you trust, we love to chat. We specialize in the nitty-gritty, so you can stick to what you know best and enjoy the process a whole lot more. Procrastinating on compliance may not seem like a big deal until you're in the middle of a fire drill. These last-minute scrambles often occur at the worst times, like right before a major bid or an expansion opportunity. And if something slips through the cracks, the consequences can be severe. Falling out of good standing or facing licensing issues can disrupt operations entirely, with costly delays. But it's not just the business at risk here. These crises take a toll on your team. The stress of constant firefighting, especially for employees who already wear too many hats, lead to burnout, frustration, and inefficiency. Proactive compliance management isn't just about avoiding business risks. It's about fostering a healthier, more sustainable work environment for you and your team. Harbor Compliance delivers unmatched expertise in multi-state compliance, for purpose-built technology to extensive requirements data and proven multi-state expertise. We ensure your compliance needs are handled seamlessly. Through our strategic partnerships with accountants and attorneys, we provide a comprehensive strategy for your organization. By partnering with compliance experts, your organization can avoid last-minute crises, maintain smooth operations, and ensure uninterrupted growth. Imagine being able to hire the perfect candidate in any state without hesitation. Confidently bid on projects across jurisdictions knowing you'll meet all requirements. And expand your product offerings to new markets without fear of tax compliances. A strategic approach to compliance is not just about avoiding penalties, it's about creating a stable foundation that empowers your business to say yes to opportunities the moment they arise. When compliance is handled proactively, you're free to focus on what matters the most, growing your business. Now we'd like to open the floor for questions. I'm going to open I think it's already still open. Let me see. Q&A is open. If you'd like to learn more about how we work together as a sport organization, please get in touch. As I mentioned before, when the presentation started, today's session is eligible for continuing education credit through Earmark. You can use after the session concludes. We'll email out a 5-question quiz. Once you complete the quiz, you'll receive your CPE certificate. Almost 45 minutes on the dot. If anybody would like to stay, ask questions. Again, I can see there's one here. Will slides be provided by email? Yes, they will. They will be provided through that email, so you can see all the slides. Obviously, appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you for putting up with, like I said before, I set the bar pretty attainable for myself. I had some stumbling, some fumbling, but appreciate everybody sticking with me. If you have questions about the presentation or harbor compliance services, or just want to get a feel for the type of service that we provide and compare it to the types of service that you have now, please get in touch with us. I'm an account executive here at Harbor Compliance. We have a few more of us who are passionate about helping, are trying to make life a little bit easier. And just see what we have to offer. We have a software that makes it that much easier to keep on top of these things, manage them. We have the ability to outsource things. So if it's something that you may be interested in, please reach out, get in touch with us. We'd love to have a chat. The last thing I have on here is take the next step in streamlining your compliance process. Consider scheduling a consultation or take advantage of our free assessments. Our team is here to help you succeed. We have the free compliance score, and a lot of that is really dependent on our software. Our software is directly integrated with the Secretary of State databases. So once we put in the legal entity, it will actually go out, scan all databases, bring everything back, and then through that, we get you your free compliance score. But really, what would help out and would help talk about things and the services a fit, where are you currently at. The best way to do that is to contact us and schedule some time. Like I said, we have account executives here who some may speak better than me, some may have less personality than me, but we all kind of get along. We all are here for one common goal, and that's to help everybody out. So if there's no questions in the Q&A, y'all are free to go. I appreciate everybody's time. I'll say it again. Appreciate you putting up with me. If you do have questions, concerns, want to get in touch, please do. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to get a feel for where you're currently at and see if we can help out in any way. Appreciate everybody's time. Have a good rest of your day. I don't see any more questions and answers. So again, I'll say it again like a goof. Appreciate everybody's time. I don't know how to stop this thing. How do I?